Welcome to the episode 43 summary of the Reading Finnegans Wake in 200 Sessions podcast, where we analyze Finnegans Wake by James Joyce 3 pages at a time. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment to support us. Today, we are diving headfirst into what might just be literature's greatest puzzle, James Joyce's Finnegans Wake. This is a book that has fascinated and, let's be honest, completely baffled readers for almost a century, and we're about to find out why.
Yeah, you've probably heard stuff like this before. The book's reputation for being impossible definitely precedes it. But here's an idea. What if we look at that difficulty not as a wall, but as an invitation? Think of it like a literary Everest. The point isn't to just conquer it, but to explore its incredibly strange and beautiful landscape together.
So let's do it. Let's dive in. Forget the reputation for a minute. What does this book actually do when you look at it on the page? In this explainer, we're going on a little guided tour, a quest through just a tiny section of the text. We're going to decipher Joyce's method and see exactly how he builds this unbelievable, dreamlike world of his.
Okay, our quest kicks off in a section known as Question 8. Now, this is a perfect warm-up. It's a short question and answer that introduces us to some of the key foundational techniques Joyce uses all throughout the book. It all starts with a simple question about a group of girls called the Maggies.
See? Right out of the gate, Joyce is playing games with us. How wore your Maggies? It sounds like, how were your Maggies? But that word wore is deliberate. And the answer immediately riffs on it. They were loving. He's literally mashing love and war together. You know, like the old saying, all's fair in love and war. And then look at that chain. Loving leads to laughing, laughing to weeping, and on it goes.
You know, this technique he's using, it actually has a name. It's called the coincidence of contraries. It's a big idea Joyce loved, which he got from a philosopher named Giordano Bruno. The whole concept is that opposites aren't really separate things. They're just two sides of the very same coin. Laughing and weeping, love and hate. In the world of Finnegans Wake, they just flow right into each other. And here's trick number 2 in this same short answer. Just listen to this cascade of words. Lorn, lore, love, live, wive, while, rile, rule, ruse. Each word is just a tiny little sound shift away from the one before it. It's like a word ladder that pulls you down the page with its rhythm. It's not really about logic. It's all about this hypnotic, musical flow. So in just a few lines, Joyce has already shown us 2 of his favorite moves, linking opposites and building meaning through pure sound. All right, so now let's see what happens when Joyce takes these ideas and just blows them up to a massive scale. Question 9 is kind of the main event for us today. It is a single, gigantic sentence that stretches for 25 lines. It's a perfect, panoramic view of Joyce's dense, dizzying, and totally brilliant dream logic. So the sentence starts off describing a tired person drifting off to sleep. Pretty simple, right? But look at the words. Deity isn't just his daily routine. It's also his duty, his sense of gaiety, and even his godlike status as a deity of his own little world. He lives in the sooty city. He's got plenty of time, which is plenty, of course, but it's also a planxty, a type of old Irish harp tune. Joyce is just cramming layers and layers of meaning into every single word. And as our dreamer starts to drift, his thoughts just become this collage of half-remembered bits and pieces from literature and the Bible. The phrase, rich beyond the dreams of avarice, gets all twisted into hapless behind the dreams of accuracy. Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, becomes a Camelot, Prince of Denmark. That famous Bible verse about a camel going through the eye of a needle? Well, here it becomes the much funnier eye of a noodle. And the city of Copenhagen gets this beautiful makeover into Hopenhaven. It's not random, you see. It's a very carefully woven tapestry of references. Joyce even manages to bake his philosophical obsessions right into the grammar. The phrase, the course of history, becomes the course of his story had been having recourses. Now that word, recourses, is a direct shout out to the philosopher Giambattista Vico and his big idea of corsi e ricorsi. This theory that history is cyclical, that everything just flows and reflows, rising and falling over and over again. And the puns, oh man, they just keep coming, getting denser and more complex. Take a look at reverberation. It's got reverberation in it, like an echo, but it also contains the French word rêver, which means to dream, and réverbère, which is a streetlight. So in one single invented word, you get sound, dreams, and light, all fused together. It is an absolute masterclass in cramming language full of meaning. This sentence then builds and builds to this chaotic climax. We get references to warring brothers, restless in the womb. The language itself starts to break down, telling us to shake again, shake a loose, as if we're physically shaking a kaleidoscope. Then a rainbow appears, but its colors are all fractured across different languages. Roserude for red, Aragius for orange, the German Gelb for yellow, and Green for green. And then the whole vision just shatters.
So, after that 25-line whirlwind of history, philosophy, puns, and biblical allusions, what in the world could the answer be? How do you even begin to describe that entire chaotic green panorama? Well, Joyce does it, in a single, absolutely perfect word. That's it. The answer to that gigantic, sprawling, 25-line question is this one word, a kaleidoscape. So, what is a kaleidoscape? Well, it's a portmanteau, a word Joyce just invented by smashing a bunch of other words together. It contains the collision of those rival brothers. It's a kaleidoscope of all those shifting images. It's a dream escape, and it's a landscape. It is the one word that perfectly, brilliantly summarizes the entire beautiful mess we just read. All right, let's check out our last section. After that absolutely cosmic dream, the tone shifts completely. Question 10 is this intimate, gossipy monologue from a young woman who is most likely talking to her own reflection in a mirror. The voice is instantly so different, right? It's filled with all these pet names like Pepette and Pitounette, these terms of endearment that sound both sweet and honestly a little bit catty. She's flirting with herself, complimenting herself, and kind of scolding herself all in the same breath. It really feels like we're eavesdropping on a private moment. So where on earth did this voice come from? Well, this reveals another one of Joyce's key techniques. He didn't just pull it out of thin air. He built it by borrowing phrases, tones, and stories straight from a real historical source, the scandalous 18th century memoirs of an Irish writer named Letitia Pilkington. Joyce literally lifts details from her life story. In this line here, our speaker mentions Mr. Pilkington, which is a clear nod to Letitia's husband, the Reverend Matthew Pilkington. In her memoirs, she accused him of being a fleshmonger, basically a pimp, who tried to set her up for unlawful converse just so he could get grounds to divorce her. Joyce just weaves this real-life historical gossip right into his character's thoughts. And the borrowings just keep on coming. You've got names of real people from the 18th century, like the Earl of Orrery. You've got direct quotes from the memoirs, like, "As I shall answer to gracious heaven," just dropped right into the text. Even specific Irish phrases like, "by my shoal," show up, disguised as "be my shawl." He even sneaks in a reference to one of his own earlier books. It's incredible. So after this whole journey through clashing opposites, crazy collages, and borrowed voices, what have we actually learned? Well, the key takeaway here isn't about finding one single correct meaning. It's about understanding how Joyce's method actually works. We've really seen 4 of his main techniques in action. First, he uses multilingual puns to make single words explode with different meanings. Second, he layers allusions to everything from the Bible to 18th century gossip. Third, he copies the associative, weird logic of a dream. And fourth, he builds his characters' voices by grabbing bits and pieces from real historical texts. This is the code of Finnegans Wake. And all of this leaves us with one last thought. If a book is written not as a story, but as a dream, with all of its confusion, its strange connections, and its beautiful chaos, then maybe we're meant to read it in a totally different way. Not for a plot, but for the patterns. Not for the answers, but for the simple experience of the dream itself. And that, right there, is a whole new way of reading.